What's up guys, Peter here from Reviews on Anything, and in this video we're looking at this shoe. This is the Nike Zoom Speed Trainer 3, which is sort of an all-round workout shoe for anything from the gym to your step class or aerobic class or whatever, and even some workouts outside. Nike says it has included lots of benefits and exciting innovative technologies in here, so we're going to take a closer look and see if that is actually true and if it stacks up to be a good shoe or not. Alright, so here we are with the Nike Zoom Speed Trainer 3. Now you can pick these up for around 80 euros here in Germany, and Nike claims that this is sort of an all-round workout shoe. So you can imagine that you use this in the gym when you're lifting weights, but you can also use it to play some court games, maybe do some sports outside, work out in the park or anything like that. It's sort of an all-round training shoe without any sort of specific sport in mind. Obviously if you want something like a running shoe or something to play squash with, for example, you have to look to a more specialized shoe. But if you're sort of an all-round sport enthusiast, I suppose, and want to do a bit of everything, then this might be the shoe for you. Let's put one to the side here and have a look around the shoe. Obviously this is the very exciting bright neon green version, but there's other colors to suit your personal taste. As you can see, it's a pretty traditional shoe design, nothing sort of too exciting to see. Also on the bottom it's not that shocking, but let's start on the bottom. There's a zoom unit here in the back, which is an air-filled unit that sort of provides extra cushioning. And you can see that the sole is sort of very uniformly formed in its profile, for example. Again, to facilitate sort of different kinds of activities that you can do with it. Obviously you can see it's slightly geared towards running. You could do a bit of twisting and turning with it, although I would certainly not recommend doing that on something too like concrete, for example. Then you might want to have something that has a bit more agility and a bit more design that way. But if you're doing some running on grass, on gravel, whatever, maybe playing some catch or something like that in a park, then this sole will work really well for you. Top of the shoe, actually we should go around first. You can see there's sort of a mesh kind of design here around the sides with some reflective material underneath, which Nike says improves visibility at night. So when you for example, running at night on these shoes or running around in a park, then this will reflect when light shines upon it, which is always a nice touch. Then the front is breathable, according to Nike, so it keeps your feet cool where possible during your workouts, which is always a nice feature. I find that it does work. It's not sort of super optimal cooling because it's still reasonably closed, but it does a reasonable job in keeping your feet semi-cool. The lacing up here is actually quite interesting because it consists of several parts. It's probably hard to show on camera, but you have the outside of the shoe here. Then there's a separate layer, and then where the shoe laces and these sort of loops are attached. And then there's a third layer, which is sort of the tongue of the shoe, I suppose you call that, that goes around your foot directly. That provides for, Nike claims, a better lockdown of your foot and a better way to sort of make sure that your foot sits nice and secure in the shoe, which I have to say is maybe technically true, but that said, I'm not sure if it's because of all the layers or the size of the shoe or anything, but it is almost impossible to get your foot in here. You'll manage in the end, but it's a real struggle to get your foot in here. And the shoe is so tight that it actually hurt my feet after quite a short period of time, an alarmingly short period of time, I have to say. Obviously, with new shoes you have to break them in a little bit, and this shoe is no different in that regard. But I even found that after 4 or 5 times of using them, they're still so super tight that I'm not really sure what to make of that. They're the right size, they fit my feet lengthwise perfectly, and I don't have particularly broad or flat feet or anything. But it's so tight, especially around the upper part of the shoe here, that my feet really hurt. And it gets slightly better over time, but like I said, even after 4 or 5 times of using them, it is still that tight. So that's definitely something to take into consideration when you're buying these shoes. If you have particularly broad or high feet, then this is probably not the shoe for you. Now, I've used these shoes in a variety of circumstances. I'm a personal trainer in daily life, so I train people preferably outside in parks and so on. And these shoes work pretty well there. They're nice and all round, so you can do anything from jumping to short sprints, a bit of, twisting and turning, and even some, little things like boxing. They provide a good platform to stand on. Also, when you take them to a gym, for example, the shoe itself is not as dampening as a running shoe, for example. So they work really well in a gym environment when you're doing squats, maybe some deadlifts. They're not too high, and they're flat and hard enough so you can do some squats and some deadlifts. So that's quite nice. And even when you decide to take some kind of, class, dancing, jumping around, these shoes will serve you really well there. Again, if you want something more specialized, if you're a weightlifter, if you do serious deadlifts and squats and so on, this is certainly not the shoe for you, especially not for 80 euros. But for your average person that goes to the gym 2 or 3 times a week and just wants to have a bit of fun there, good shoe. Will serve you well and will get you along just fine. Like I said, for a court game, this is probably not the shoe for you. First of all, you might prefer a higher shoe there, and the sole is suitable, but not that suitable for a court game where you have lots of directional changes. Even though the shoe provides reasonable support all around, so you can do it if you want to, but if you want to use these shoes to play basketball in the park, for example, I would definitely get just an actual basketball shoe rather than this. But as an all-round shoe, it works really well. And I think the design is nice and clean, nice and simple. It has a Zoom logo here, as you can see, but other than that, there's not much going on in terms of branding, except for the Nike swoosh. So it's, I wouldn't say understated with the color, obviously, but it's a shoe that you can just wear and not pay attention to too much, and you'll have a pretty good time in general with this shoe. That said, if you can get over the tightness, I'm not sure what's going on here. Don't think it's a production flaw or anything with this unit, because it's in both shoes, left and right. And I suppose it is something, over time the shoe will wear out a bit and provide a bit more flex. But it is unusually tight. I'm not sure if that's the systems that Nike put in or, whatever it is. But for me, it just doesn't work. So definitely something you should take into consideration. And I think with shoes in general, you should always, unless you've had this shoe before, you can obviously order it again if you're happy with it. But when you're trying on, when you're buying shoes, always try them on in the store, so you're sure that it fits your foot and that it fits your needs properly, even before buying them online. So that's, with these shoes, definitely something I recommend. And with Nike in general, they fall slightly smaller than your average shoe brand. And in this case, it's I wouldn't say a disaster, but it's really something that stands out, that they're so incredibly tight that it's actually uncomfortable. Although for 80 euros, it's a reasonable shoe if you want to do some all-round sports and just want one shoe to do it all. This was Peter from Reviews on Anything, with a look at the Nike Zoom Speed Trainer 3. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers!